Welcome to a very colorful, exclusive fountain pen overview. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Aaron from Pen Venture, and just like I told you in the intro, you are in for a colorful, exclusive fountain pen overview. And it resides in this box right here, and you already seen the thumbnail. It's one fountain pen which is very long awaited. It's been launched. I didn't have the time to do an overview, a proper overview for it, and I just said today it's going to be the time in which I'm going to share you the story, the inspiration, the overall context regarding this specific edition, which is limited, and what do you need to know in order to understand its very important place in this timeline, in this launch, and what do you need to expect further from this point. Kyuseido, the brand which launched the Kakari platform, which is this beautiful one, but it is not this exact one because this is blue, and Kyuseido didn't feature a blue pen in their lineup because this Kakari platform as a fountain pen was developed alongside Ben Walsh from Gravitas. In this partnership in between Kyuseido/CI and Ben Walsh Gravitas, we had available a blue special version for the Kakari, which was available only at Gravitas, with a very interesting pump piston filling mechanism, which you already know by now because it's been launched for the past few years and you already have them in your collections. You already know them, you've seen them. There is a video review overview of this specific pen on our channel. I'm gonna link it up here if you want to know more regarding this specific blue pen. We still have some of this available on Pen Venture and on the Gravitas official website, and it got launched in two versions: a satin version, matte, which is this one right here, and my very own machine finish, which is this more shiny texture fountain pen. Well, this partnership reached the final number in the Kakari model, which were to be made in blue by Ben Walsh alongside the other remaining pieces in our inventory and in the Gravitas inventory to be retailed. In the context in which Ben Walsh opened a new partnership with Pen Venture, and it's going to develop more interesting things alongside Gravitas and Kyuseido, following their own legacy and way in our fountain pen industry, we decided that the remaining 50 pieces of this fountain pen to be launched in a special edition, and what better way to do them than in a finish which is very synonymous with Gravitas, the Rainbow Skittle PVD finish. To have them alongside Pen Venture only because this is where Gravitas is going to have their hands-on operation, going from our HQ with our resources and platforms and systems, and we said that we should have this final 50 pieces for both of our stores, the Gravitas store and the Pen Venture store. And we had a talk at the London Pen Show with CI, and for a limited time and for limited pieces, as in the number of sales online, we had them in our store, and we have just a few of them remaining, so I took this opportunity to do this video. It's called an overview because we're gonna walk briefly throughout some of the features, because you already have the video with the blue pen. It's the same pen with some small aspects changed. I'm going to showcase which are those and also present a handwriting sample, and at the end you can make up your own mind if you want to have one of the final 50 pieces of this exclusive limited edition collection. And by having one of the Skittle PVD Kakari fountain pens, you actually get to have a token of remembering this moment in time and space in our fountain pen industry when the Kakari it's going to take off into a new adventure with Kyuseido. First of all, the fountain pen gets delivered inside one of these boxes, which is made out of Paulownia wood, and this is something very interesting because it tells you from the get going, from touching it, from having a look at it, from how it feels, how light it is, that this comes from Japan. A lot of Japanese fountain pens, some of the higher end models, come with such a box which is made in wood. Anyway, the fountain pen looks just like this one. It is a pretty sight. It's made in grade 5 titanium all around. This beautiful color scheme, which basically it's just like a rainbow. It is completely random, so it looks very even in the distribution of colors throughout the fountain pen, and basically each fountain pen has all of the colors. So there is no fountain pen which is primarily blue, green, pink. No, nothing like that. Every single one is very well distributed in regards of the color. So you can see here that we have on my inked up fountain pen the same color variation and everything, so you don't miss a thing with this fountain pen. So if you aim to have a specific color, it's not going to be viable because this has all of the colors randomly distributed. Then we have this beautiful shape with the pointy ends on the cap and also on the pump piston knob right here. Then you have a limited edition number which is engraved right here. So this is number 39 out of 50. I can understand the success and the grip of the Kyuseido brand and also of the Gravitas brand. So 50 pieces is just like nothing. We already showcased this fountain pen at the London Pen Show in person, and as we got back, a limited number of them were set aside to be retailed on pen shows, and the remaining numbers are available online on PenVenture and also on Gravitas. So let's move further. Twist, uncap the fountain pen, and we are greeted by the 14 karat gold nib. And this nib right here, it's not like the other ones that you may be familiar with from Bock, from Jowo, from other nib manufacturers in Europe. This is different because this is done by Gravitas for Gravitas using a specific alloy that Ben Walsh picked, and then you have the details, the shape, the size, the width of the shoulders, the curvature and everything. So this feels unique, including the tipping. The tipping is one of the high-end tipping materials that you have available for having on a nib, and this is picked by Ben. The actual shape of the tipping is different, and to summarize, every single detail of this nib makes it feel unique to Gravitas. This is what you need to take from it. 14 karat gold. We have stamped the logo of Gravitas on it. Extra fine, fine, medium, broad, and double broad. All of these nibs are available at the same price point. Little tip here, some of these nibs run a little bit more wet and a little bit above what it is on them. So an extra fine feels like an extra fine, a fine feels like something in between a fine and a medium, and so on. But I don't have a problem with this because I just love how smooth they are, how wet they are, and in order to have such an ink flow, you have a high-end Nico ebonite feeder, heat set towards this nib. This nib comes out into a nib unit, and right here you have an O-ring, and right here you have a gasket. So this is very handy because this outside shape and size, it's similar to a Jowo nib unit. So you can put a Jowo nib unit right here in this fountain pen, but again, check for every single aspect like fitment, because not all the Jowo nibs are the same. Some of them stick out more, some of them are a little bit more tucked in, some of them are a little bit more wider, but I don't see a good reason why to put a Jowo nib on such a fountain pen. But again, if you want to do it, there is a possibility. This is a very comfortable fountain pen. The ergonomics of it are very well thought over. The grip, it's not that chunky, so there is plenty of feeling left, so it's not something that you squeeze on to write. It is not a large diameter section, but it is hourglass shape and it is very comfortable. There is nothing like machined grooves, but this will not slip forward. Maybe the finish on the section or maybe the shape just prevents your grip from going forward. Then right here we have the threads. Those are not sharp, but if you want to grip the fountain pen by them, it doesn't feel that well. Then you can unscrew and take the section all together out, you have right here a O-ring. This O-ring is pink and this is only for this specific edition, and it is an O-ring which will prevent the ink from just going and getting to the threads right here. You have to understand that taking apart such a fountain pen, it is not covered by warranty. Doing such operations, you have to take the responsibility on you. Be very careful. It is not like you're gonna harm the fountain pen, but if you don't know your way around fountain pens, and if you squeeze a little bit more tight, if you do a specific procedure and you drop the fountain pen, it can result in damages, and those damages are not covered by warranty. So proceed with great care when you take apart such a fountain pen. Then we have the barrel, which is clear. So this is a very high-end optical grade polycarbonate. This is very, very clear and beautiful, and I can show you on my fountain pen, this one, I have a pink ink inside. So don't get me wrong, there isn't too many scenarios in which we can clearly say on a daily routine that pink ink, it's a must. But in this one, whoa, wow. This is going to be an awesome handwriting experience, and I'm going to tell you more regarding this ink and what it is in just a few moments. So clear barrel, we have the filling system showing, we have this titanium rod. So basically every single part of this fountain pen, which is metal, besides the nib, it's made in grade 5 titanium. This makes it light and very, very robust. Everything gets PVD coated in Skittle Rainbow finish. The filling system of it, it's not. Outside exterior parts and everything are. Let's have a look at the pump piston filling mechanism, which has this very neat gasket on the tip right here. It's gonna go right there, and when you go like this, it's gonna seal the ink and it's gonna act like a double reservoir feature. You can take this on a plane and you don't have to be careful and keeping it nib up. It's going to prevent burping of ink inside the cap, and also you have to unscrew this and let some ink to flow into the section when you write with it, because that ink, when you have a very good ink flow, it's going to starve if you don't let ink to come from the barrel inside the section and to write. And I had cases in which customers just said, Emmy, the pen goes dry after some writing, so just open up, let some ink, and it's going to work. And you have this latches right here, which you can grip the piston, which resides screw in right here. You untwist, you disengage from the plate right here, you go like this, you remove the air, then you put it in ink, and when you pull, it's gonna draw ink inside. Then when you reach the top, you screw it in and you don't go completely tight. A disclaimer regarding this specific fountain pen and the model: be very careful when you take it apart, when you just put the filling system back in its place and you just screw in everything. All of the metal parts are done in titanium, and everything in the middle right here in the barrel, you have polycarbonate. The polycarbonate, it's not as strong as titanium. So if you force titanium parts which are just screwing in this polycarbonate too tight, it may result in damages to the fountain pen. So be gentle with this fountain pen. Be very careful when you put everything together. Don't go extra tight on every single screw, on every single thread. Leave it with a little bit of space and it will hold a lifetime. You put the rod back, and when you do so, be very careful to do it with having an open bottle of ink, because some droplets will find its way back into the bottle, and then you go like this, and then it is primed, it is ready to write. Then we have the piston knob right here, just like the cap with the pointy end and everything, and those are the details of this limited edition number 50 pieces fountain pen, which is exclusive to Gravitas and PenVenture stores. I'm going to show you on my fountain pen, because maybe you observe that I have different color O-rings on my filling system. The plan was to have either pink or blue O-rings. As we got the fountain pens delivered, I started to install pink and blue O-rings and to test them, and observe that they got stainy. So if you use a blue ink, for example, with a pink O-ring, you will get a blue circle on that O-ring. So doesn't look good. And also in heat and cold environments, as they shrink and they get bigger, I observed that some ink was passing along the pink and blue O-rings, so I decided to go along and install black O-rings, which are far more suited for this job, and they perform very, very well, and we have a lot of experience with them in the blue version of the fountain pen. But I still have the pink ones, and just because I don't want to stain them, I put pink ink inside this specific fountain pen, and it looks gorgeous, gorgeous. So this is the overall look, and this is some pink ink inside, so you can clearly see how mesmerizing is this pink ink slushing around in the barrel of the Kakari Skittle. Now let's have some measurements for this fountain pen, and then let's have a writing sample. Kept like this, the fountain pen measures 144 millimeters. Posted like this in use, it's measuring 175 millimeters. Uncapped in writing position, 133 millimeters. Capped like this, the fountain pen is weighing 46.6 grams, and uncapped in writing position, 30.8 grams. Before going into the handwriting experience with this nib and everything, let's talk about the pricing. On the blue version of the Kakari, on our website and on the Gravitas website, you can find it selling right now at 575 euros, no VAT, for the remaining pieces, because we will not have other blue pens available after we sell what we have in our inventory at this very moment. So it's available in two finishes, matte version and this one right here, which is machined. As for the Rainbow PVD limited edition exclusive, which numbers only 50 pieces made, the pricing on it, it's 620 euros, no VAT. That's it. And we still have just like a handful left. Online, you can still find this fountain pen when we will be present at shows. We still have a number left only for our tables. Okay, with that being said, let's get into the handwriting experience with this 14 karat gold nib, because I have on mine a broad nib, and this broad nib, it's awesome. Yeah, it runs into the family because I'm not the only one who enjoys Tommy River paper notebook. Baby Emily had some fun with my notebook, and I'm just seeing it at this moment, and ooh, she pressed a little bit too much on this nib, so we will have to have a talk. Anyway, let's get back to the broad nib on my Kakari, which I adjusted for myself to run super wet, super smooth, and this is how I like my nibs to run. So if you want to have such a nib and to have it writing like this, leave some instructions in the order notes, and let me show you how I like my nibs to write. Pen. Kyuseido X Gravitas Kakari Special Edition, limited to 50. Ink, I told you, Kosu Mosu Iroshizuku. I've heard some rumors that this ink is going to be discontinued. I still have a bottle left, so I'm safe. Anyway, it's a beautiful pink ink. Nib, 14 karat gold broad, and this is the Gravitas nib, just like I told you. And let's check the wetness. I told you I like my nibs to be very wet, and when we combine a broad point with a wet ink flow, you're gonna get a very broad line. And this is a double swab of ink, and it's a wet ink flow. This is how I personally like my nibs to write. Anyway, normal, figure of eights. This is quite a broad point, and the shape of the tipping makes it so delightful because it's roundish. So most of the new broad points that I see available on the market right now are stubbish, to say so. This is very round and very, very nice. It reminds me of Omas back in the day when we had broad points from Omas. Flex. Not that you would press on this nib, but if you do press on it, you will have more ink flow, and those tines come apart and let more ink, and this sort of transforms into somewhat of a broader point. But again, you don't flex a broad point. Just for a comparison, I have a nib which is on my personal blue Kakari, which is at the other end. So this is an extra fine. So this is a comparison with an extra fine next to a broad. So it's a huge difference. Let's do the famous sentence. Let's check out this nib in a more flamboyant writing. So we have the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy pink dog. This is a stunning nib. There is very little amount of feedback, almost none at all. Very smooth. I would be comparing this with something like a Palladium Dream Touch nib in regards of the smoothness. And in my opinion, the Palladium Dream Touch nib of Visconti is the most smoothest nib that I've tried. Close by, we will put a Pelikan Broad M1000 nib, very smooth as well. And then this one, in my opinion, this is a very good point why you should have such a pen in your collection. And there is many others, but the nib and the experience of having this fountain pen and how it's writing, it's one of the top ones. And just like with all of my overviews, now I will just bypass what do I think as a personal opinion, because this is a point where you would need to take all of the information that you had in this video and make your own mind about this specific fountain pen without me giving you much more details that reflect my personal opinion, which may be biased or not. I'm trying to stay as objective as possible and to just simply translate everything that I am experiencing having these fountain pens, using them in my videos with you all. So if you want to get such a fountain pen, you actually support a partnership, or better said, two partnerships. Kyuseido, which is going to be going further in their quest and come up with interesting things, and on the other side, Ben Walsh and everything that means Gravitas alongside Pen Venture. So this fountain pen marks a very important milestone for both of these companies. Moving further, we're going to see some very interesting things in either directions, Gravitas and Kyuseido. You just stay tuned, because there is a lot of things yet that I cannot just share officially, but we will do it at one point. Very interesting writing nib on this fountain pen. I love broad points. I said that this is a fountain pen for such a nib. I just love the original feeling of writing with the nib, which is not made by one of the two biggest names in nib making, Yovo or Bock. I want to have something which is done in-house like this one, and still have it on a fountain pen which I can enjoy from a brand that rings so close to my heart, and with everything that means CI, Kyuseido. And to be honest, I just love that we have mavericks like this that take this quest of innovating in our industry. And I'm pretty sure that for bigger companies that produces writing instruments, it's very difficult to innovate at this level. A small company, a handful of people like the team at Kyuseido and Gravitas and Ben and his contacts are just very flexible in how they approach different filling systems, different materials, and how do they put everything together like a symphony to come up with products like this, which I believe they are going to have some of the most interesting things yet to be unveiled this year, both of these brands, and you have to follow also the story of Kyuseido on their website and Gravitas. You know by now that it's going to not only come up with some interesting things, their hands-on operations are run by our team, so you can trust that it's going to have a very, very well service, just like the one that you get at PenVenture. If you scroll down, you're also going to find a link for this specific fountain pen, the Kyuseido Rainbow Skittle PVD Gravitas Kakari. Long name, but what you need to know is that you are going to find it on PenVenture and also on Gravitas, a very, very limited amount of them. I'm not trying to create FOMO. This is why this video goes out after just like a week plus ago when we launched this, because I didn't want to have a video and to create FOMO and just simply get this hype going on at the launch moment. No, we still have a few left, and if online we're going to be finishing up these numbers, you still have a chance to get one at pen shows when we will be attending. Thank you so much for spending this time with me on the PenVenture YouTube channel. And the battery of the overhead camera just simply went to 0. Let me know if you have any other questions. Use the comment section down below. I'll be more than happy to share all of the answers with you all. Let me know what you think about our content. If you find our content useful, give it a big thumbs up. This will help us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to support the growth of the PenVenture YouTube channel, it's very easy. Click there, turn on the notification bell on, and you will be notified whenever we have new content. If you want to watch more of our content, click here and enjoy. As always, I'm your host from PenVenture. I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care, stay safe, bye-bye.